ready, DCTV?
Yes,
All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have one addition to the agenda, which is to sign the annual financing plan for the town highways and certification of the compliances for town roads, bridges, blah, blah, blah.
So moved.
Is that under new business?
Yes, it will be, because it's new for this year.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Get that added in. I'm gonna put that on the last thing on the new business. So, as you can see, our agenda is very, very full. So we are going to limit public participation to the beginning and ends of the meeting and not throughout, just so we can get through it. We just added another item, which brings us to 15 items to get through a new business and then some old business. And for my chair remarks, this is what I have today. The Brattleboro Reformer published an article online today regarding an investigation of the repayment of Patty O'Donnell's legal fees by the Select Board in December 2015. The legal fees stemmed from an obstruction of justice charge brought by the Windham County Sheriff's Office. Those charges were thrown out of court by a grand jury due to a lack of evidence. This recent investigation of the repayment was brought about by the Vernon Voters Alliance. At the time of the repayment, the board consulted legal counsel and was advised by the town attorney that under Vermont Statute Title 24, that repayment of Patty's legal fees were 100% in the purview of the Select Board. The Select Board at the time rightly made the decision to repay Patty her legal fees based on the statute. This attempt to defame Patty O'Donnell in the Select Board decision will once again be found to have no merit, in my opinion, at the end of this investigation. It's unfortunate that this group continues to bring forth false claims, jamming up our legal system and taking up the time of all those involved, including state and town resources, and expending unnecessary tax dollars. I hope in the future this group focuses its attention on the building of Vernon as a town and stops trying to bring division among us. I encourage those involved with the Vernon Voters Alliance to reach out to the Select Board in the future. That's all I have to say about that. We don't have any guests tonight. We're ready for open public comments if anybody has anything on non-agenda items.
I have one.
Come on up, Barbara.
Is it over here?
Right to the microphone. It's on the other side. It's kind of messed up since we changed everything around.
This isn't built for, is it on?
I believe so, yeah.
This isn't built for a short person. I would like to inquire why the rec department does not put its agenda, not its agenda, but its meeting notice out in the box. You know, there's a notice placed outside. The cemetery is very faithful in doing it, I know. The farmland committee does, but the rec department's meetings, I have no idea when they are.
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to it, but we'll get it figured out.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Maybe could I say one more thing while
Absolutely.
I'm here? I am also interested in the lack of minutes that the rec board apparently keeps.
As far as, obviously I'm not on the rec board and I know that they take minutes. What do you mean by the lack of minutes?
Well, they aren't available. I tried to find them in the Michelle's office. And I had seen some about 2 years ago, but they were very incomplete. It seemed as though they were written by Seth, It's just S was signed, but there were really no minutes completed. It just once or twice it said something about something being done at the pool, but otherwise they were very incomplete. And to me, the board should have its own secretary, its own chairman, and the secretary should write the minutes for the board. And they should be
I'm
posted.
actually the chair of the board. You want to become our secretary?
No, I don't. But I think you've got plenty of number of people on the board who should be able to write minutes and do it correctly.
Yeah, we do have someone that takes minutes. It's Ian does the minutes, it's not Seth. And
I
he
don't
has
think
for
that's-
as long as I've been on the board. But
I think that's very out of order that your employee does the minutes.
I'm sorry you feel that way. It's
But what other
it's not a
board-
conflict of interest.
What other board has someone else write the minutes? It all comes from the,
Me, Planning Commission Vice Chair and Secretary.
pardon me?
I'm the Vice Chair of the Planning Commission and also the Secretary,
Yeah.
so I take all
You
the
do
minutes.
minutes, yeah.
Yes.
It's customary that the board does the minutes.
Well,
Go ahead, Steve.
yeah, we actually have someone here who does minutes for us.
Yeah, it's traditional.
Well, I
So
don't
I
know
think
that, Michelle Millrick is not a select board member. She's a
And-
paid employee to take minutes.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
still here.
Well, yes, I would think she'd be here, you'd have to be here to take
Maybe
minutes.
somebody's got to come and fix it.
Don't
So I
sneeze.
hope hereafter that if I come to the town clerk's office, that I will be able to read minutes of the
Absolutely,
rec department,
absolutely.
done by some member of the board.
I can't promise that part, but I can promise that you can read the minutes. We don't have any department or committee reports, I assume.
Is it still public?
Yeah, come on up,
comment?
yep.
I understand that you spoke to the issue as well, but I became aware of an article that was in the Reformer this afternoon about a letter that had been written by the Vernon Voters Alliance regarding an old issue with Patty O'Donnell, who, by the way, was exonerated well over a year ago. And I just wanted to say that this town has done an amazing job of moving forward in the last couple of years. We've had the Vermont Council on Rural Development has come in, and as a planning commission member, I've been very aware of the enormous amount of hard work that's gone into everything that everybody has done here. Positive, unified, moving forward, wonderful to see, great positive energy. And to have something like this happen by a group in this town at this juncture is not only a slap in the face to the board, but is a slap in the face to all of the people, and there are probably hundreds of them, who are working so hard to make this town a better place. You might as well have just kicked mud in all of their faces, and I think it's deplorable. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Vermont Council on Rural Development was primarily brought in from the efforts of a member of the Vernon Voters Alliance. That's the main reason that they came into town, because we persevered and got them here. And our intention in asking about this payment was not to have it public knowledge, but to have the questions of our own answered, because the bill was submitted once and paid and had to be repaid, was my understanding. And then to find out that it had then been resubmitted and paid, when none of the other select board members were involved in a decision that was made that resulted in these lawyer fees, was very questionable in our mind. We have no desire to bring mud in anybody's faces, and we did not bring this about to be a public spectacle.
Well, I will tell you that that's exactly what this did. And I will also say that you could have had your questions answered by simply coming to the select board or coming to Michelle and looking back through the meeting minutes and determining what happened instead of bringing in the Vermont State Police and starting an entire investigation. That is where I don't agree.
I don't believe that anybody knew the state police would be involved. I believe probably what I felt was going to happen was there'd be an investigation by the Attorney General's office or the state's.
And that's exactly what's happening, but they utilize resources such as the
Well, we
Vermont
had
State
no,
Police to
I'm an
do that.
ordinary person, I had no idea that was going to happen. And I'm glad that you have cleared that up for us this evening, but I don't know if it was ever reflected in any select board minutes. The bills and warrants are paid, and we're never told what the bills and warrants are.
They're public record, you
Usually.
can come look at them anytime.
Well, I guess I have to apologize on my part then,
Okay.
and we've all learned something.
Yes, ma'am. Anybody else? Okay, keep going. We need to approve our meeting minutes from the regular meeting on February 21st, 2017.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of February 21st, 2017 as presented.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed?
Abstaining was
Passed as written. Reorganizational meeting, March 7th, 2017. I'm going to be whipping through this stuff tonight because we have so much to go through, so just slow me down if you need to talk about something.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept these as presented.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, so also opposed. Mr. Clerk, bills and warrants, please.
Sir. Mr. Chair, the following warrants are moved to be paid and as follows. AT&T in the amount of $60,530.02, and 4 payroll warrants in the amount 8S in the amount of $10,053.18. Payroll warrant 9S in the amount of $7,385.59. Warrant 10S for payroll, $9,375.58. And 11S payroll, $8,461.88. And also to ratify accounts payable 17T in the amount of $14,068.35.
Second.
So warrant AT&T accounts payable $60,530.02. 8S payroll $10,053.18. 9S payroll $7,385.59. 10S payroll $9,375.58. 11S payroll $8,461.88. And ratifying 17T accounts payable $14,068.35. You have anything to throw in there? I know sometimes you have.
The only, the larger ticket item in AT&T, the accounts payable, is the Sheriff's Department. The page is normal.
Okay. So any more discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, new business. We have submitted from the Nesbitt Portside Tavern their liquor license renewal application. I think everything looks right. I don't think it's gonna come back to us this year.
You missed one check mark on the front. There's no.
For the internet party. Okay.
I think you're correct there. That's all.
Was there an issue? Correct.
No.
Oh,
Check it.
I'll entertain a motion on the liquor license renewal for Portside Tavern.
I move that we renew the liquor license for Nesbitt's Portside Tavern. Conditional that no is check marked on the front page.
Get a second?
second.
Any discussion? All those in favor for renewing Nesbitt's Portside liquor license renewal application with the additional check mark put on the front as no, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nay. One nay from Sandy. Motion carries.
There's 2 spaces to sign.
Backside. I'm gonna keep moving us along while you guys are signing. We got some correspondence from the Wyndham Solid Waste District regarding an increase in the access permit fees at Wyndham Solid Waste. Basically, this only pertains if you are utilizing Ferry Road for recycling. Sounds like the cost of their permits are gonna be increasing. The only thing that means to us down the road is that our cost may increase as well. If they're doing it here, they're probably gonna do it everywhere as far as fee increases. So I don't think there's anything that we need to do with that. It's just something to be aware of, especially for folks that utilize Ferry Road for recycling.
That's point of information. Does this mean the sticker that we buy when we go up there is going up, or is it some other fee that is going up?
Correct, I believe it's the sticker, it's the actual permit to recycle there is gonna.
I see. Did they
increase
give
the
any
cost.
indication as to how much that was going up? Because I didn't see anything in this letter. I suppose I can always ask Bob.
I did get a notice that the minimal fee for 100 pounds is going up from $10 to $15. There's gonna be an additional $1 service fee added to something. And,
Probably the hazardous.
and these will take effect on April 1st, and they're going to go up again probably on July 1st.
The next item is bill to compensate towns for tax overpayments and litigation expenses. Basically, what's going on is that there's been a bill introduced into the House, I believe, that helps us offset our litigation expenses when we are dealing with Trans-Canada and all of our surrounding neighbors.
It's a Senate.
Is it a Senate bill at this point? Okay. So what, you probably know more about this than I do.
Well, I move that we support this. We send a letter of
And
support.
with that,
I move that we send a letter of support
Oh,
for this.
yes.
yeah.
I have a cold, and your voice is like way down below the threshold.
So I agree that we need to send a letter of support to this bill that will help us with litigation
Did you
expenses
need
down the road.
was that a motion? Second.
Any discussion? Jeff, you got any?
So essentially, as far as compensating towns for litigation expenses, the state will compensate?
Yes. You can actually look at the bill. I can send you the link at some point, or Michelle can send out the link to the actual bill itself.
But
So
this
you
is
can
a
look at
copy
it.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is,
It's only 3 pages.
Yeah, and further, I think I'd like to amend my motion or add to it that we request an increase in what they were going to reimburse. They should reimburse more than what they're asking for.
Oh, based on,
They're saying
Or
they'll reimburse
50%.
half if they
They're
want.
saying reimburse half right now, but we could ask for more.
well, of course you can always ask for more.
We have to if we get half.
Sometimes that's considered to be greedy.
But we could have to.
And besides, after what we did with some things here a couple of weeks ago, maybe we shouldn't be looking too greedy.
Take away my vote.
But at any rate, are you amending your motion then?
Yeah, I think I am.
All right, well, I'll amend my second.
What percentage would you like to see that go out there?
It's okay, I would say 75%.
75, kind of
I'm
think.
gonna go for 100%.
Well, not that greedy.
Oh, you're not that greedy, okay.
Yeah, I agree with somebody.
75%?
I don't mind, whatever.
I don't think we really need to make a motion to send her a letter of support. We'll just get that together, and Michelle put it together for us, and we'll get it out.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, the next thing we gotta talk about is the 3 new office computers. Based on our computer guys' investigation in all of our computers and seeing, who needs what, we find that the town treasurer needs them the most, followed by the listers. Right now, we're discussing 3 new computers, 2 for the town treasurer, 1 for the lister's office. And if we can, within our budget, we would like to do 4. But I think Michelle can give us a better idea of, we think we're gonna be able to hit that 4?
We might talk to Bill, and he will purchase 4, so that he's got the hardware on hand.
Okay.
Depending on the installation costs, that's the big thing, it's the labor to get the treasurer's office running. He'll see if there's enough left in the budget to add that 4th computer. If not, we won't get charged for it.
And that additional one will be a lister's computer as well, if that's the case. Okay. Good deal.
So moved. I move that we authorize your purchase.
Second.
Any other discussion? So I move that we purchase 3 new office computers for the 2 for the treasurer, 1 for the lister's office. Total cost of hardware and licenses of $4,665.75. And hopefully, within that budget, be able to purchase a 4th computer. Is that an okay amendment to you? Okay, good. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passed. Last meeting, the reorganizational meeting, we discussed purchasing a projector and a screen for this room. So when we have meetings, we can save paper on agendas and all the different items that we have and be able to project it against the wall. So those in the audience can look and see what we have going on, besides the fact that having our own agenda, or our own projector is beneficial for other parts of the town as well. I think we were all pretty much in favor of that when we discussed it last time.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of purchasing a projector and screen?
So can I ask, at what cost? I mean, how much is it gonna spend?
Yeah, we need to set a
I mean, I'm
level.
looking to have a $2,000 projector.
Good.
I won't vote for that. What's the
300 to
reason?
400 for a projector, for a decent projector that's gonna last a while, and then probably about $50 for a screen that we can put up on the wall permanently.
$450.
They've certainly come down in price,
Yes, they should.
because they used to be $2,000.
You can still get them for that price.
No.
That's one of them.
Could we amend that motion to
Sure.
have a cap?
Not to exceed $450.
Sounds good to me.
Does that, if I might ask, does that include connections and so forth? Because I know we had trouble with, there was some concern about the school one when they hooked up to that, right?
Oh, I already have those
You have the
connections,
connectors,
so
so-
they'll buy those again.
That's fine with me.
So.
Michelle, I wonder if you could put it to
I was gonna
500
say,
in case of shipping and stuff. Not to exceed 500.
Well, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
that okay with everybody? We amended to 500
is
to
fine, yes.
here for shipping, that kind of thing. Is there a motion and a second? Any other discussion about that? So, all those in favor of the purchase of a projector and screen in the boardroom not to exceed $500 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, so the select board rules, everybody got a copy of that throughout the course of the week, and I saw some stuff going back and forth regarding changes to it and that kind of thing. So let's talk about it.
Did you want to just talk about them in order? Because I know Sandy got quite a few, and maybe she could lead the discussion.
Yeah, let's start at the beginning and work our way through these.
Okay, the rule numbers have been corrected in the one that we just got tonight.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, on Route 12, I would like to see us as select board members sign a confidentiality statement regarding executive sessions. And I think we should have to sign it.
What is the purpose? I thought part of the swearing of the oath to uphold the laws of the state of Vermont, that's part of the laws
You
of the
would
state
think
of
it would
Vermont.
be.
Oh, you mean there's been discussion
In
about?
the past, it's been interesting.
From this board?
Not from this board,
Oh,
not from this board.
got it.
But I think that in the future, and including us, we should honor executive sessions. If someone comes in and they have something personal that they want to talk to us about, none of us should ever go out and say to anybody what they
Agreed.
said. And I think if we had to put up, not spouses, not kids.
I don't disagree with that, I just was wondering if, so we've seen some violations of
Yes.
that? How long ago? I mean, this goes to your point later on about,
Right.
you know, we've only had
Within
one
the
bad
last-
apple in the
Within the
basket.
last 5 to 10 years, that's easily,
5 to 10 years
Yeah.
ago?
at
Well.
least.
At least it wasn't father.
No, it wasn't
Been
your
dead
dad.
20 years now, right?
It was not your dad.
He's in the clear this time.
It's, I think it's a good thing to add to this.
Exception. Anyway, yes.
I think if we put our name, if we have to sign a paper, it might stick better.
Sure.
That was
Right.
We'll go with that.
Add that, select board members sign, including us.
Yeah.
We'll call it the zip it clause.
Okay. And then on the stipend, the same thing there, I think, rather than we sign it with this, that we wouldn't need this if we agreed that if we didn't fulfill our term, we would pay back, if we signed something, rather
Well,
than.
I've got some things to add to
Okay, so
that.
that's,
An example would be, if I have a heart attack tomorrow and die, and I've already collected a year's worth of whatever,
Mhm.
and I have no, I mean, I have an executive,
Okay.
the tricks appointed, but it would be a big rigmarole for her to have to go back through and pull funds out to repay the town. It seems to me, and I would like to keep what I have arranged already, which is, I don't get paid until I complete the work.
mhm.
We don't expect anyone else in this town to get funding before they, all of our town employees are paid by check after they do the work. They have to submit a timesheet, et cetera. I think that we should be able to live by that standard. And if some of us are having trouble with taxes, you know, we just have to look ahead to that. To be quite honest with you, the taxes are going up so high that the little bit we get here isn't help matters anything. I believe that we should live under the same rules and standards as our town employees, and therefore I highly support this approach.
Okay.
And then we have no problems at all. And then the other thing we have is we can actually cite ourselves as an example of living to that standard.
Perfect.
And then
Do
we
you
won't
have
have this
anything
other
on
issue.
Rule 16, Jeff?
No, if we just simplify it to, you know, basically signing that, if you don't do the work, you don't get paid, if you don't deserve it, if you're not entitled to it.
Right.
I mean, it's taking money out of taxpayers' pockets. And I don't think that's fair. We need reassurance that, whatever money a select board member takes, it's earned.
True.
I agree. So we're okay with 16 as
Yep.
written?
But I mean, basically, you know, July 1st, if somebody wants to take the full year, that's fine, it's just if you quit partway through, you gotta pay it back.
Well, except it does become complicated, not in your situation, but you look at me, I have no heirs, I have no wife, I have nothing but me and the dog. And so it becomes more complicated when you see someone like myself. So I would rather keep
So,
what I've got.
yeah, if we, should we include something that?
Well, I would
except
like to
when
have
it-
the ability to do that, because I really
Yeah.
don't want to have to worry after I go to the grave that I've got to owe the town of Vernon something.
Well,
I think you'd really rather be on the board.
I'm getting to the
finish your
point
term.
sometimes of where the other might be a nice option.
So, what it boils down to is that the way we're going right now as a select board, from what I'm hearing everybody say, is we're happy with the options that we have, but we want to have the recourse, the legal recourse to go back and retrieve unearned monies if is needed through these rules.
The select board member, when he or she signs, has to acknowledge that, in writing, that if they don't complete the work and they're still alive, they have to pay it back.
No, I think in fairness, that you should be required to pay it back even if you die. The reason I say that is because I'm not gonna be dying destitute, and I certainly want the town to have whatever money is coming to them. So I don't want any debt erased just because I croaked. I want to make sure that the town gets what it deserves. You know, that's my feeling.
So we
And,
wanna-
and that would be totally avoided if we just paid you after you completed that quarter of work or whatever. So
Yep.
it makes it very simple that way.
Mhm. Yeah, I see both sides of it. Is a good compromise, what I just mentioned, we continue to be as we are, and if Jeff wants to take his full payment in July and then, brings his keys to us in August, and he repays the difference based on his signature and.
Right. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Because, I don't think we have that much difficulty, but just for myself,
Yeah, which you can continue to do the quarterly.
that's what I'd like to do.
If that's your prerogative. but-
Quarterly after the fact.
Yeah, that's your prerogative to do,
Thank-
but it allows
thank you very much.
it allows anyone else that's not in that situation or doesn't have that same mind frame to
Right.
do
Yes, that's fine with me.
as they wish, understanding that if they leave the board, it has to be repaid. So we need to rewrite that a little bit, from being paid quarterly to having the option. And some kind of, if you croak clause on the back end of it.
Well, I think what's fair is fair. I mean,
I
just because you
completely
died
agree.
doesn't mean that your debt should be erased, right?
I completely
It
agree.
isn't anywhere else.
But again, that's not the best way to get off the select board.
It may well be.
Maybe
We won't
declare
judge
insane
that
would be
just now.
better.
We won't judge that.
Moving out of town would be better.
Yeah, without a doubt, right?
Oh, boy.
Did you have any other,
I did not.
anybody else have anything on the
No.
rules that they saw?
I do want to make an overall statement about the rules. I think that, I know that we don't have a set of things like this right now, but I do think that it's going to give us some guidance, not just for us, but people who maybe are interested in the select board down the road, that they can see that we actually have some standards to live by. And I also think it's important that we have standards to live by, because after all, we expect our town employees to follow standards, and I think we should demonstrate that we're doing the same thing.
And I think that's kind of why we looked at putting this together as we were looking at redoing the policy for all the employees, that we should have a set of rules in place for the select board members as employees of the town as well.
Well, even the last rule 18 about conflict of interest, a lot of the ideas come right out of the handbook for
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Vermont select board members. So I mean, we have a resource to use.
Anybody else have anything on any of those? We're okay with the Rule 18 as it's written and everything else that's there?
Yeah, I read your comment. I still think we should be able to ask people if they,
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I agree that asking somebody if they know the topic very well, we're not using that knowledge to make the best decision we could. But I could see, I prefer to have somebody asking another person rather than that other person just
right.
participating.
Right,
But
yeah.
So how do we define that in here? That's the $2 million question.
Well, if they were to leave the table and sit in the audience, they would then become a member of the audience, not a select board member, then we could ask them, right?
Yes.
temporarily step down.
Yeah.
I think that would be fair.
So instead of a recusal from the room, it's a recusal from the table, basically.
But if I might ask, generally speaking, whenever a question comes up, let's say of some department or some function that we have, the folks that, or the individuals who are on serving on the select board, hopefully are not the only source of information on that subject, and therefore, I'm sure there would be other people who would then actually have a totally, no, maybe not totally, but a less biased or less potential. And you know, what we're getting into here is, you know, who needs to revisit this thing? We don't need to do that. So that would be just my concern about making this any, you know, stepping out of one's chair and going somewhere else to take another position. I just worry about that. I think it'd be better for a select board member to just sit on his hands if he doesn't have, and here I am one who doesn't always do that, but I will try to do that in the future where I don't know that I had a conflict. I didn't have a conflict with the trees, did I? No. So.
You're not an employee of any
And I'm not,
specific department.
well, except that I'm an employee of the town with this stipend thing.
That's true, but you're an employee of the select board, which
True,
makes
true.
the decisions. You're not an employee.
Well, I was
of
just
the-
trying to think
You're not
of-
an employee of the rec department saying, I want a raise.
No,
Sitting at the
I-
select board
no,
table,
no,
so.
if I were an employee of the rec department, I'd be so busy I wouldn't be able to become a select board member.
So I tend to agree with you on that part of where,
Not physically moving.
yeah, to physically remove completely from the room. And because as a select board member, you have and anybody else's for that fact, has the agenda ahead of time. If you need to speak to your board as an employee or your boss, whoever that may be, regarding the situation that's being discussed, you have that opportunity prior to. So your case can be stated without you stating it.
That's true.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
Make sense? Okay. So we're okay with it as written, that particular rule? Okay. So we won't approve it tonight, we'll get it rewritten, throw it back on the next agenda. Give us all a chance to look at it again. Lost keys. Isn't this fun?
I saw that.
We get to talk about keys again.
Can't be.
So,
You know, the minute I saw that, I quickly went to make sure I had mine here attached to my brain.
no, essentially what happened is the sheriff's department had a deputy leave the department and has never returned his keys
No,
to our building.
unbelievable.
So
Are they gonna pay to have another key made?
that's what we're talking about tonight. So,
Oh, God.
that's my feeling is that, you know, we have to rekey the PD door. And was there one other key?
The door to their office, and the police door.
Yeah, the PD door and the door to their office. My opinion is that's not our responsibility as a town to recover keys from an entity that we pay to protect us.
pay very well to protect us, yes.
Well,
Yes.
they do have the tools to investigate where he went.
I know.
Capture it.
It's amazing, isn't
I
it?
agree with that.
So, we are gonna look to, oh, they were lost?
They were lost.
They were lost.
They were-
He just happened to quit and he lost them.
Yes.
Okay. I
It was
understand.
an accident.
This is exactly what I was thinking about when we had this discussion at town
I know.
meeting, and that's why, you know, it would be a flick of the switch if we had the other system.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we need to approach probably Lieutenant Anderson and say, either find them or change the locks. You know, we have the number to Dick's Lock Repair, who does all of our stuff for us. So we can discuss that with them. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
And we'll
Yeah.
throw that in their laps and see how it shakes out? Okay. So, next agenda item is Cusick Scholarship Fund. There's $92,000 left in the fund, which earns about $1,500 per year in interest. We need to decide whether we're taking applications this year to utilize that fund. Obviously, the fund was not funded through this town meeting. I have told several different people, and maybe I told them out of school, that, you know, we would still be providing scholarships through the Cusick Scholarship Fund because there's still money in there. But we need to make that decision as a board tonight that we are going to allow the committee, which is me, Mike Hebert, and Dana Gordon-Macy, I believe, that will take the applications and distribute the money for that fund. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be doing that personally, but
I don't see how we cannot do that. The town didn't vote not to award it, just voted not to fund it.
To add more funds.
so.
Agreed.
So I'll entertain.
I agree.
I'll entertain a motion to continue accepting applications for the James Cusick Scholarship Fund.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thanks for giving me more work.
you're welcome.
The next couple items are interested parties for the town juror and the town agent. There are two interested parties in the town juror position. Paul, and I'm gonna butcher your last name, so I'm not gonna say it. Fantini, okay, and Christian Howe. Both have expressed interest in the town juror position. What's everybody think?
Well, I know both people, and I believe both people are certainly able to carry the juror position forward, I think. So I don't have a problem with either one. Did you want a motion to one or the other? You only have one, right?
Yes, you can only have one. So
We certainly
entertain a motion.
burdened Chris with an awful lot of stuff, but
Weigher of coal.
what's that?
She's a weigher of coal.
Well, beyond that, I mean, she's got a lot of other things going on. Of course, that is a big thing too.
So,
I mean, I don't know, I don't know him, but we should encourage people to volunteer.
I agree with you, and
That
I've
we
known
haven't,
him.
that we haven't known.
Yeah, he worked for many years at Vermont Yankee, so that's how I know him, and he's a very sturdy little fellow.
Can we combine these? Does that make the motion to appoint Paul Fantini as town juror and Christian Howe as town agent?
Second.
okay. This is pending their okay,
Pending
let's say.
acceptance.
Yeah, okay.
Bob.
Do we have any other discussion about?
Under the chair?
All those in favor of appointing Paul Fantini as town juror and Christian Howe as town agent, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Pardon? Steve
Steve
did.
did.
Steve did. Yep. fire department's on our list. I don't see anybody here from the fire department to have a discussion, so we will bypass that.
I do want to apologize for not making the supper on Saturday night. I was so sick with this cold, I just couldn't keep anything down. But I certainly will send them a check. I'm not exactly sure what, there was some discussion about funding, I didn't really understand that, but I'll send it to you.
Oh, it was just,
Well, it's not, I do nothing urgent.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to get that out.
yeah, I can,
And I hope that they had a good turnout.
yeah, I think there was probably 30 or 40 people when I was there,
Oh,
so.
well, I feel bad. I love corned beef, but I am here tonight, though.
Yes. So we have RFPs for landscaping, snow removal, and office cleaning. Everybody get a chance to take a look at those, yes?
I just think under damage, it should be to the administrator
Okay.
of the town of Vernon rather than administration, because one of us might lose something. One of us. That was good. Whose responsibility will it be to take care of the flags, putting them up, taking them down, going to the half-mast?
That's a really good question. But I don't know the answer.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm the one and only Memorial Committee member.
They already called you.
Yeah, Kevin Stanley was here attending the memorial and at the monument.
Do we want to add that to the RFP, or do we want to ask a service in town to do that?
Maybe to the cemetery.
I think so. Maybe the highway department or the fire department or somebody can, if we have to lower flags to half-mast, we can get somebody.
Oh, I
to
see,
run that.
okay,
Yeah,
in that
another
event.
day,
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
or ask
That's
about
an immediate thing.
taking them down. My understanding now is that there's no requirement that they be lit all night. Is that correct? Someone told me that, because I had some questions about these that were along Route 142 last year. And they said there's no longer a requirement to light flags overnight.
Okay. I'm not familiar with
In
that.
which case, then they could certainly stay up for a large part of the time. However, half-mast would be an occasion when we would have definitely.
Yeah, I don't think we very rarely take them down.
Okay, but just wondering about that.
Check.
That's what I was told, because, there was this whole issue with all these things along
Yeah.
142, and they're not still out, right?
Yeah.
I know the ones in the cemetery aren't either, but
So was that?
the ones in the cemeteries aren't lit either. the
That's
small
correct,
ones.
yeah.
It may be.
So can we make a note to try to discuss maybe with David or somebody that's gonna be in town in the middle of the day if we get that phone call?
Even Tim.
Or, yeah, Tim, possibly add that to his responsibilities if and when we ever have to lower them. That.
So I've never quite, how does that work? Somebody from where calls to,
The town clerk usually gets a notice
Yeah.
in the
from
email,
who?
the state.
Okay.
Secretary of State. If it's a state, it would be like a state thing. I
Yeah.
think, right?
Just that half the time I can't figure out why the flag is at half-mast.
Well,
But I'm just not
usually
very
it's-
well informed,
Well, it's
so.
just usually a state of mourning or something.
That's okay.
Or a disaster, I don't know,
Oh, anyway.
disaster, something, I'm not sure.
Yeah. There's a handful of
I
reasons.
know down at the plant, security used to handle all of that,
Right. Does anyone want to make a motion to these? Are we happy with them?
The only one I'm not really happy with is the office cleaning.
Okay.
And
but
that's.
you mentioned a couple of things.
Yeah. I think if people have dishes in the sink, they should put their own dishes away.
I agree.
I don't think we should be asking someone to come and put our dishes away.
I don't disagree with that. I do know that sometimes it's like pulling teeth, but
Yeah.
not necessarily here.
I do it at home.
I'm just saying generally speaking.
I do it at home.
You pull teeth or you? Well, I
Yeah,
mean.
careful.
No,
Honestly,
I mean,
The dishes.
the reason I
The
do
dishes
that
away, I
is
do the
because
dishes.
we don't
yeah.
always have towels, so a lot of the dishes
I
drip
don't get
dry.
paid to do it.
We don't have
You don't get paid to dry dishes?
There's no hot water in this?
Oh,
And if you wait about 15 minutes, you get hot water.
Really?
But, so if they're sitting there, the towel is an issue, there's one towel. So a lot of times they're
No,
drip
no.
drying, and I figured if the clean crew was in here.
We're getting a
with dishes
reason
in
why.
the sink, they could just stick them in the cabinet.
I think we should supply you with some
That's
towels.
the reason.
Well,
I'll bring you some towels, we'll be all set.
Excuse me, though, from a sanitary standpoint, towels are not permitted in a public place for drying dishes.
Really?
You
What?
didn't know that?
No. I didn't even-
Absolutely not.
Are there in every restaurant?
Yes. And when I say public, talking like a commercial kitchen or they have to be air dried. Because that is a much more sterile approach than drying them off with a towel, which God knows where it's been.
But still, if Michelle has had a cup of coffee at 10 o'clock in the morning and put her cup in there, I'm sure she wouldn't kill her to go in at 4 o'clock after it air dried to put it up,
And
right?
put it away.
No, and I usually do.
Yeah.
Or I just leave it
I'm
on my
teasing
desk,
on you.
but
I
I do
agree with
put
you.
in there and there's dishes in the dish. We can take it off, we take it off.
I agree with you, Sandy.
And
I'm just giving you the reason that it's there, because I don't use the towel.
I know. And then,
Put your own dishes away.
There, we got that solved.
Require paper plates.
Desmond
Solo
washcalls,
cup.
did you get that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and then when it comes to our office trash, you know, if they could have a big trash barrel in what was the custodian's room, every office should be able to dump their own trash.
I agree with that.
You know.
I agree with
We do that at my work.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to take my trash out to the dumpster, and that was at VY, so.
those are my,
That makes sense.
those are my things.
So what do we want, a central garbage can somewhere?
Yeah,
Well, are we getting dumpsters with this new
No, we
arrangement?
don't.
No, we're not.
No, I was just gonna have the cleaning crew come on Wednesday night, and
Is it
then the
gonna-
garbage will be out in front on Thursday
Well, that's
morning
true,
when they come
that's
and get.
true, yeah.
And I had talked to some people about, it's gotta be Wednesday,
Yes.
so that garbage is out.
Yeah. The other
We're
thing too
talking
is if
about-
you have a vehicle for like a large container somewhere, sometimes people's rubbish baskets fill up in a couple of days, and this way here you have that vehicle to get that into a larger container, which then won't be pouring over on your floor. Because I'm sure most people don't have a huge garbage can in their office.
So do you want me to take remove trash away from all the rooms? Not the kitchen?
I want to take away from the kitchen, because everybody's using that, but
And the library has a lot of public spaces. I mean, there's the bathrooms. So,
so the bathrooms, I would say
I'm just-
fine, but, you know, as far as the offices.
so just take it out of office, well, I can separate offices and lobby.
Yeah.
Because we do have garbage in the lobby. So I can break those two out and take, so just to say, I don't know, what do you want to do in the office?
It just seems that you should be able to dump your own trash.
Yeah. Kitchens, restrooms. And lobby.
Well, I think we heard too that there are some towns out there where people actually do take their trash out to the dumpster and back in the floor, so
Mhm.
we're not exactly
Clean
asking for
toilets,
the
a
world.
lot of them do that. There's one town clerk that still doesn't have a toilet.
What? What did you say?
Wow.
I didn't hear what you said. What
She
you
said
said?
she has to go, close her office and go to a store to use a toilet.
Where?
Up north.
Oh.
So I'll just separate offices and lobbies, I'll rewrite this one, and
That could be tough.
everybody can take their own trash to a central location, which would be in the RFP anyway, so it's
Right.
state.
Where do we want our central location in the maintenance closet down here, or?
Upstairs in the maintenance closet would make more sense.
Well, I was gonna make sure the keys were locked in there.
put it in your room?
I was gonna leave them there because I need to get a big cabinet, so you can't just remove the cabinet from the wall. I mean, I could do that in the office, but it was just more cheaper.
Well, there's another place upstairs, more cheap. Don't think it
I
was
did
cheaper.
just say that.
Yeah, well, is there another place it could be?
What, the key cabinet?
No, trash.
Yeah, it could be in this closet down here.
I was just thinking, like, Tim, when he leaves at night, you'd have to come down here and do it.
Um,
You know, you'd have to come down here and do it. If it's up there, it's very, you know, where the trash.
We'll
is
figure it
generated.
Yeah. it's
I'll figure
gotta-
it out.
It's gotta be a once a week
I'll
thing, maybe.
figure it out. We don't
depending
fill
on
our
how much
garbage.
trash you,
Yeah, that much.
yeah.
Because we have
Can't be.
recycle bins and,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
well,
it
we'll
can't be too
figure,
bad.
we'll figure out location.
Oh, that, everything was great.
Everything good? So do we wanna get these rewritten and then approve them at the next meeting?
Yes.
Or how quickly do we need to get these out to get everything back so we're in time for June?
July 1st.
Yeah, end of July.
Well, if she makes the changes, she can just email them to us. We'll just approve them for the changes now.
And we'll ratify it at the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay.
Works for
Any
me.
changes with the other two,
Just administrative.
besides the administrator?
Okay.
Thank
I think we have anything. Since I saw Todd walk in, let's jump back up to that. Nobody else is here from the fire department except for you. So do you have something you want to discuss? Are you good?
I'm all set. Well, I was just told to be here, so.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing I'd like to say is that
Come on up.
the corned beef and cabbage dinner did really well. We grossed, let me see, 11:25. So then I think we had like $475 roughly in expenses. So for a change, fundraiser went to the positive side versus barely breaking even. So
How many people you think you had to go through? I know there's probably 30 or 40 there in the time that I was there.
I
But
think it was roughly around 70, 75. So,
Good.
we had a little issue with potatoes and vegetables not cooperating with us cooking wise, so we were a little delayed in serving, but.
That's why I don't cook.
But we ended up having like probably 20-ish people waiting right off the bat, so.
Good.
Good turnout, good weather. Just wanted to say thank you to the townspeople and whoever donated, thank you.
Good deal.
Since you're sitting here. Well, I wanted to come, you don't know, but I was so sick, I just couldn't even leave the house.
You want to bring towards the fire department? or-
I don't know exactly what that's all about, so you put it where you think you should put it.
Okay.
All right?
In your pocket.
It's on camera, so.
Exactly what I meant, but,
Hey, he left it pretty open-ended
if
for
it
you.
becomes real necessary, yes.
Yeah, so it's-
Thank you for your, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
I will really try to make it next year.
Well, if you can't make it, just shoot us a call and we can.
I wasn't in condition to even smell food.
I was sick of smelling corned beef, but.
I
for an
love
hour or
corned
so.
beef too.
But that's all.
Thank you.
So last item under new business was the one that we added, was the signing of the annual financial plan, towns and highways. All of us need to sign it. I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of signing the annual financial plan for town highways signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Now, is the certification of compliance the same thing? or-
Yes. I don't think there's a separate signature for that, is there?
For what?
All the same, the certification of?
No, there's two.
Oh, there is two?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. I see another fireman showed up, so we'll go back up to that discussion. Believe this is probably an executive session thing regarding personnel.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we go into executive session with our town administrator and our fire department personnel on a personnel matter. Disclosure of this time which might be detrimental to the town or individuals involved. And that's 1 VSA 3134.
All those in favor of going into executive session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So we went into executive session, came out at 8:32. No action was taken.
It always is that.
The next, any public participation on agenda items? Ladies, anything? No?
No.
Good. Correspondence, that's you.
It's me. Well, besides what you've got in your packets.
Yikes.
VLCT is looking to fill a vacancy on board directors. I did send out an email. Is anybody interested in doing that? Don't everybody jump at once.
I already responded.
The NRC has a new website for information on the decommissioning of Vermont Yankee, which is a lot easier to navigate than the last one. So I can give you the whole thing, the whole web address, but if you just Google NRC Vermont Yankee, it comes right up. Okay. We received a draft of the discharge permit for Vermont Yankee, if anybody's interested in seeing that. We did get a letter from McNary Firearms, which is a manufacturer of firearms, I guess, in Vernon, offering to help us sell the pistols or buy the pistols, whatever we decide to do in the coming months. Probably should look at that. The Watershed Council is objecting to revised process plan and schedule submitted for licensing with Northfield Pump Storage. They're also arguing the studies, so I have those documents about redoing it, because I know that you're really interested
Yeah,
in all
I
that.
should look at those as
Probably
well as, I'll drop
understand.
by your office and look at those as well as the discharge permit for my Yankee too.
Okay, I can give them all to you tonight.
Oh, you, all right, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. We also received an invitation for membership in the Vermont Council on Rural Development. I asked Cindy, and she has no record of us ever being a member as an organization. It's $150 a year. Those were people that came into our community discussions. Any interest in doing that?
Well, the only thing I can say about it is we certainly had a lot of our time this year, or last year actually, tied up with, if this is the same organization that put these hearings on and so forth, and I, sometimes the way to get a good outcome is to get it closer to the source, I guess.
I'd be interested to see what the value is in it.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Why would we benefit from giving them $150?
I will find out. Okay, I did provide you all with a Sheriff's Department activity log.
Yes.
And there is a Northeast Resource Recovery Association Annual Conference and Expo, so if you want to learn about recycling and solid waste removal, let me know and I'll give you that information. Okay. So that's all of the correspondence. Want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of announcements. Bob Spencer will be meeting with the Wyndham Regional Commission on March 27th to talk about the town's responsibilities versus Wyndham Regional's responsibilities in regard to that in-kind grant we received for energy planning in the update of the town plan. So he's just gonna confirm that it's something we really wanna do based on what our requirements are gonna be. So David Walker, the highway foreman, has successfully completed the Better Roads grant. So keeping your fingers crossed for that, that'll be for $6,000 with a local match of $1,500 to bring us into compliance with Act 64 Clean Water Act and to conduct a road erosion inventory and culvert inventory. So that would be a good one. And just an FYI, Wyndham Regional Commission has filed intervenor status in the Public Service Board case regarding the energy transfer to North Star. So if you want more information from them, you can get it. Okay, dates to remember. There's a few. March 23rd, there's an NCAT meeting at the Brattleboro Middle School. April 4th and April 11th is the Town Officers Education Conference. I'm sorry, April 4th or April 11th. Depending on if you want to go to Montpelier or Lake Maury. If you're interested in doing that and registering, just let me know and I'll get you signed up. And talk to Sandy about carpooling. Okay. April 6th at 7 p.m. in the Vernon Elementary School cafetorium is the newly scheduled Public Service Board hearing on the Energy North Star joint petition.
It's 6 o'clock is the informational, and then 7 o'clock is the hearing.
Are they still doing the information?
They weren't-
99% sure,
Oh,
yeah.
did they? Okay.
I'm pretty sure they are.
I thought they just got rid of the informational part and picked up the hearing at 7.
I'll confirm that
Yeah.
for everyone.
It is, and if you know people out there, it really would be good to have maybe some friendly Vernonites go to this, because what usually happens is, the gang from down south shows up and you know where all that goes.
And especially during the informational part, I think the hearing is actually closed. You can't even speak during this, right?
No,
There's
the
not
hearing's
public-
pretty-
No,
I thought it was public
There's
testimony.
public participation for the
Okay.
hearing, yeah.
That's it, it's public testimony, they're taking public testimony from Vernon, but if all they hear is dead cats,
Yep,
that's.
I'll be there.
We're fast.
Okay, April 10th, there's the possible meeting with the State of Vermont Wetlands Program. They have not confirmed yet, but just keep that penciled in because we were gonna have it here on the 13th. And that was the date of the North Star meeting, so we postponed. So working on April 10th for that. April 13th is the school district budget remote. They've scheduled that for that day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. polls open. And the 26th from 4 to 5 is the BDCC annual meeting. If anybody is interested in going to that, let me know. Okay, that's all of my notes.
One thing I didn't hear was the Black Gum Swamp.
That's the 10th. That's the
10th.
possible meeting with the wetlands.
Okay,
That's the one we're scheduling for the 10th. It's all right.
yeah,
It's the only wetlands we're talking about right now.
sorry.
The other thing they mentioned was the 23rd handicap meeting. My understanding is the Vernon Planning Commission is going to do a presentation about, that they actually exist and they are in fact, as concerned about Vernon's future as Wyndham Regional and all that stuff, so.
Yep. So I think that's it. Next regular meeting is April 4th, on Tuesday. We are adjourned.